So in modern media nowadays, we see a lot of remakings. I'm not talking like classical remakes like Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, whatever that stuff Disney's making up. I'm talking about old stuff. I guess the Disney movies are like the original Disney movies are included, but like for example, one like Snow White, that's a classic. Cinderella is I'm just listing all the movies I just said. So a lot of stories are remakes, and we don't know that. Mulan, for example, like a few months ago in class, we were actually studying the origins of the myth, which was actually a poem about a woman who went to war in China in the time that women weren't allowed to go to war in China. So that was interesting, and it was very different from what I expected. I mean, um, the point is, modern media is very twisty in a way. It twists the original story, and now that I've known that, it kind of makes me a little want to throw some punches, you know? It's not, I mean, it's enjoyable and kid friendly, and that's what really they wanted to do, but some of these stories weren't that bad. Like Mulan, again, for an example. Like she goes to war, she spends a few years, nothing much bad happens. It's just a contemporary, kid friendly poem for the times. Nothing bad happens, really. And the ending is the same. She goes back to her family, enjoys the rest of her life. Really, there was never men there in the first place. Disney just added that because Disney princess and all, which makes me another fact that Mulan was never a princess in the first place. But that's a whole different thing. Now I would talk about this for hours, and I have talked about it before. Go ahead and watch that video, Hercules. It's a really good video. And to and in my opinion, it and I have talked about the villains, Hades. And it does make me very kind of angry because I mean they've already twisted the villains again from original movies to modern villains. Like for example, let's go. Oh my god, which one's a good example of a twisted villain? Redemption stories. That's a good one. A lot of villains get redemption stories. Descendants. That's a really good one. The villains get redemption stories. Hades, for I'm saying Hades. Thank you for doing that. Hades. I don't like the growling though. That was weird. Really was really weird. Um, um, Malevolent. I really do think she did not need um happy story ending ish. If you see the wedding of Mel and Ben, but the hat was cute though. I gotta say, but another example of something that is interesting is Murder Drones. If you haven't seen Murder Drones, it's a good series if you're Christian or have any sorts of beliefs. I recommend not watching it for specific reasons. And if you also don't like horror or gore or cannibalism or that stuff, don't watch it. I don't know. I watched it. It was really bad. um, but they slapped because the villain was so good, and the villain had no motive at all. She just wanted to be bad, and really in general. Um, and it was good. A lot of people. Fun fact: Murder Drones is one of the most watched series in the world. First one it should not be up there, but another example of a redemption villains is The Amazing Digital Circus. Kane, for example, he's a villain, and you feel bad for him, but he's a villain. In episode 8, obviously. In another episode, he's Kane, but but villains aren't really meant to be. Oh no, I feel bad for him. They're meant to be bad and to be bad. Like that's how I see it. Because if a villain's not bad, then what are they? Because they're the villain, they're a bad guy. They need to be bad to be the bad stuff. Like that's the whole purpose of the plot: to stop the bad guy from doing bad things. But Kane is an example that I feel bad for Kane, but he's a villain, so I shouldn't feel bad for him because he's a villain. Another good example of a villain that was good was in Sleeping Beauty. Malevolent, she was just pure evil, playing out, enjoying it. Like, yeah, she didn't get invited, but she did not have to go full, oh, I'm going to kill the baby. She didn't need to. She wanted to. That's what makes her so good. Well, obviously not good, but like that what makes her so bad as a villain. Good as a villain, but bad as a person. Because she was malevolent, hence the name, and she was good to be a villain. And that's what makes the movie so good, because you got this I forgot how to call it. This villain that wants to be really bad, and you have the hero that wants to be really good, really good. It's a mix, and that's what makes the movie good. There's separation of good, bad. But in modern media, there's the gray zone, which is the part where there's good people, there's bad people, and there's people that aren't really chosen. They can be both good and bad, but they choose. I mean, obviously, we all have our choices. Personally, I hope I'm on the good side of us, hopefully. And yes, I've seen my fair share of bad, but uh, someone who enjoys to write stories, I'm kind of in blame for this as well. I do like redemption arcs, okay? But I give meaning to them. Like, there's a sort of message there. I put my limits. And because I want that kind of original feel. Because I'm an old soul, and what an old soul is someone who doesn't really talk about modern stuff, like like this famous person did this, or oh no that happened. I like to talk about the more grounded stuff, and one of the main reasons I started this channel is to talk about the more grounded stuff. Like obviously I have my fair share of wacky videos as well, but I like talking about the serious stuff as well, like this, because it's really important for what our kids are seeing. Because if they see a villain, someone that's bad, get a redemption arc, then I think, oh wow, that's I mean, obviously it's nice that like it's given like everyone can be a good person, but sometimes there's limits. Like Malevolent, they made her look like a villain, and they did a great job about it because the horns, it all made her look like a. I don't want to say it because it's PG here, but it was. Going back to Murder Jones, it was also really good because the villain, by the way, she had no motives whatsoever. I mean, maybe like taking out all of humanity, but that's pretty much it. The rest she did not have to do. She just did it for the pure enjoyment. And I've gone back to episode 8 in the final battle multiple times at this point. It's an amazing episode if you enjoy that kind of stuff. And and she's just having fun because she likes being bad. And that's one of the many things that modern villains are missing. They just don't enjoy it anymore. They kind of feel like they need to. Miraculous Ladybug, the villain Hawkmoth, spoiler alert, he's trying to bring back his wife, something happened to her, I can't really remember. But they give him a reason. I mean, it's enjoyable, you feel bad, but at the same time, it shouldn't be. Because they did kind of grasp at first to give him like, oh, I'm doing this because I'm evil and I want to and stuff. But after a while, I think they kind of fell into the scheme as well. It's really bad. Well, it's not bad. It was good, but bad. The modern series is good. Get jumbled. Now going back to Hercules, if you skip this part, if you want to skip all this, but Hercules' movie, it was good, but the villain was good. Oh my. Hear me saying that Hades was a good villain, even though I'm his number one fan of the original villain, Hades. Kind of funny. But in the Chase saying, it was good because he had like a good bad motive. He wanted to rule the world, and that's a classic villain thing, and that's why it was so good. The movie was good. The plot could have been better though. But now the plots of movies, that's actually an interesting part because sometimes the plots of a show might be a redemption arc. For example, Wings of Fire. If you go to arc 2, and spoiler alert for Wings of Fire for anybody who doesn't know, Darkstalker, we see his backstory, and you feel bad for him even though he's a villain. Like other villains, like Blister, for example, in arc 1, she was just playing out evil and having fun. Scarlet was playing out evil, having fun. And Darkstalker was like a complete opposite. All the other villains were just evil, mostly because they lost their souls. Albatross. But Darkstalker, he lost his soul, but you feel bad for him. Mostly because we see his side of view. And that's one thing modern media do as well. They give us the modern point of view. And it's not that I hate that. It's actually interesting, but I don't know. I just feel like there's something off about that. I don't know. And this speed paint right now that you're seeing right now, it's a funny story. The character, she has gone through multiple things as well. I was originally inspired by animated versus animation, because you might not see it, but I showed you some art from 2 years ago. You'll see that they're stick figures. They were originally meant to be stick figures, and that was the whole concept, that there were stick figures doing things that like a book would do in like a graphic novel, like, that with big details and stuff. After a while, I noticed that it wasn't really going to work because um I don't want to spoil it, but it's because then I myself twisted my own story. I made it more serious. I made it more heavy, more lawful. Mostly because after the years of seeing more stories, I got better at storytelling. But at the same time, because I wanted to twist it, I wanted to change it a bit because I didn't feel right. Obviously, I'm trying my best to keep it very grounded. But stories have some stories change over time, and sometimes it's for the better. But sometimes it's better if we just keep it as it should be. Plain, simple, and keep the villains plain and simple. Just let them want to be bad. And you'll see that it'll save you a lot of time and it'll save you a lot of effort as well. So, thank you for joining me, and stay dorky dorks.